Welcome back to the He-Man episode reviews. This time it's Time Doesn't Fly. A kind of a weird, honestly awkward Season 2 episode with a bunch of weird original characters that we would never see in any other episode, and no surprises here since this was written by a one-time only writer, Gina Bakar. The episode begins with Adam and Teela playing some really weird version of croquet when they suddenly realize that time has stopped, as that is obviously the main theme here. And we're clued in by all these damn clocks around. Seriously, what the hell is this all about? Well, we run into the character Cathay, who is the princess of a kingdom called Simbar, who falls into a hole with... Wait, is that Moak? Well, okay, it's not Moak. It's just an original mole character that just completely looks like Moak. So Adam transforms, saves Teela by helping out the mole creature.
Olafers have a keen sense of time. He sensed something was wrong and he panicked.
A good sense of time, He-Man, really? What the hell? And then it turns out that Cathay's on a mission to go to Hourglass Mountain. Her father, the Emperor of Sinbar, has been taken captive by an evil wizard called Hexon, as well as the Keeper of Time. The Emperor only has power granted by the Council of Seasons and must always ask for his job every year on the first day of spring, hence the time stopping. If you're getting the sense like there's a lot of confusing lore going around here, yeah, can you see now why I don't really like this episode? On one hand, it's kind of fascinating, but at the same time, it really feels weird that we have all these weird emperors and keepers of times and councils of seasons, and you know, how none of these guys have ever appeared in any other He-Man episode. It's really fucking weird. Well, the way Hexon has stolen time is with the Sands of Time, and he decides to spread them in a desert so nobody can find them, but he holds on to the final grain, as in the final second, so that spring won't start. I guess it's technically winter on Eternia then. And all kinds of shenanigans ensue. Teela first tries to stop Hexon, it doesn't go very well, so He-Man comes to help, and the heroes are able to save the Emperor and the Keeper. He-Man goes to look for the remaining Sands of Time, while Hexon is trying to make a case that he should rule Simbar to the Council. But the Emperor and Cathay do appear at the council room, which is when Hexon then shows up at the desert to try to stop He-Man, who is literally looking for the sand with his bare hands. Seriously, what the hell, He-Man? And he almost does get stopped by Hexon, but luckily Orko shows up, annoys the hell out of him. Orko's able to dupe Hexon, and then He-Man uses his bolas to capture him. Yeah, so this episode not only has really weird writing, but also weirdly very good animation. I gotta say, most of the action scenes in this are actually really good, and it's not just because it's Season 2, but I'm pretty sure that a big part of the reason is Marshall Amore, who of course is one of my favorite He-Man directors. You can definitely see this with details like the vines with that Hexon curses on Teela and Cathay, and even the weird electrical monster that attacks He-Man, although the outline is just bit. Honestly, I did not pick this episode just so I could make that callback. It literally is just bit. But at the same time, I am really bothered by all these original details. And also by the fact that how the characters act really fucking weird in this episode. Well, first of all, when Teela falls into the hole with Cathay, Adam just transforms willy-nilly, and not worried at all that his secret identity might be revealed. This was shockingly common during Season 2, but luckily Teela has misplaced her brain in this episode and doesn't question anything. Second of all, I'm really creeped out by the voice of the Keeper of Time. He's supposed to be one of the good guys, but he sounds like this.
If you send the sands of time there, how will we ever find them again?
And also there's just some really weird jokes in this, and honestly, Cringer is really whiny. I really don't like listening to him in this episode. I think honestly the only parts of this episode that really work and are funny in my opinion are almost entirely unintentionally so. Like when He-Man and Battle Cat are literally looking for the sands barehanded in the desert.
We're running out of time! Very funny, Cat.
Like, what the hell is this scene? You couldn't do some magical bullshit with your sword like you normally do? I am impressed, however, that Orko saves the day, although he probably pulls off his worst fake-out joke in this series, and that's saying a lot. My favorite joke, however, is this, I think, unintentionally dirty one from He-Man when he saves Teela from the vines.
Looks like your garden's a little overgrown, Teela.
You jerk. Now, the Council of Seasons all look kinda cool, but I hate the end joke, which is just that Winter is sleeping all the way through this part, and then wakes up at the end. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be a joke, but it's just not really funny. But all that said, there are a couple of other things that are kind of annoying about this episode. First of all, there's the Well, a frankly problematic nature of Cathay. She is just an Asian stereotype character who speaks in pseudo-proverbs, and honestly, this really bothers me. I would have much preferred if she was just some random kid. But I guess Gina Bakar was just a really big fan of Asian culture or something. Then there's Hexon, this episode's original one-off villain. I kinda like the time angle with his evil scheme, but I don't really understand what's his dealio with Simbar. He's just literally some kind of an evil guy who wants power for himself, and I do not like his visuals. Seriously, there's only room for one asshole with bare blue legs and purple underwear on this show. Also, he apparently hates doors. Hexon's art is probably my biggest criticism for the visual look of this episode, because he doesn't look like a He-Man character. He really does look like he came from a completely different cartoon and was just kinda shoehorned in. And may I add, he's a real fucking idiot. When Orko starts baiting him, he just completely bites and doesn't even catch on what's going on. Possibly one of the worst He-Man one-off villains ever. So overall, I would have to say that this episode is not particularly good, but it is kind of interesting in how weird and out of place it feels. It puts it in a special category of He-Man episodes that are almost so bad that they're enjoyable, but I also have to admit that the pacing on this is a little slow. A nice curiosity, but one that wasn't very well thought out. And that's the review. Until next time, I have the power, so can you. He-Man.